Well, hang on, Mum. I'm doing commentating. I've literally just started. Good evening, everyone.
Well, you little scum. Scum.
Yes.
Leading the way after his victory last week in Bahrain. Yaham in second place and FPL Vettel in third. Then we look at the guys who we're hoping will have a better time this time around and able to bounce back. Obviously, the two Alpines of Relentless Lowland and Heartbroken Lion. Absolute tragedy for the race last week. Late on getting damaged and dropping towards the back of the grid. Also, we got the likes of Stevie G, Kobe, Free Prepper, Carlsbury, Pro Swilder, Special, who unfortunately were unable to pick up any points after DNFing last time. And this is a good opportunity for them to 10 races in the season. And we're going to see how these guys get on. We are slightly delayed in getting underway. As I am going to check to see what is going on, but I believe that is Easton back now.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And just want to apologise for the slight interruption. But we're back and we're nearly ready, as all 20 drivers are lined up, readying up for round 2 of F3 of TTML here at Monza. And the start of the session will proceed in about 25 seconds time. So it should be a really good race after a cracker to start off the season in Bahrain that unfortunately wasn't there for. But we're tonight in Monza and we hope for a really good race. As we are
So
about.
obviously you wasn't there for Monza, but sorry, Bahrain. Was you did you watch it back though?
I saw bits of it. Just wanted to see who was where in terms of the pace and then I saw clips of the race as well. But it should be interesting to see what can happen tonight. Will the drivers that DNF'd last week, will they be able to finish this week and get some points on the board, or will it be the same old story for them? And as for the leaders, we obviously, can they keep it up for another round?
Absolutely. And obviously Monza, one of those tracks where if you thought Bahrain can be a little bit tricky, Monza can also be tricky. Ascari, you can lose it very easily through Ascari. You can also lose it on the second Lesmo if you get a little bit too aggressive, and of course the De La Roja chicane also, too wide there could be contact, and you could go spinning around like Vettel did many seasons ago in real life Formula One.
Yeah, as a Sebastian Vettel fan, I didn't really want to be reminded of that one, but qualifying's underway. Yeah, at Monza, and we will have 18 minutes of qualifying to see what the fastest laps are going to be here in F3, and then we will have a 27 lap race, which is the equivalent of 50% of the real life Grand Prix, as the drivers are slowly emerging from the garages. Maybe some might opt to qualify for the mediums, but hopefully the majority of them will be on the softs. As the first driver out is Enarser Pirea, who is in the Alpine.
Oh, yeah.
Before going into the Lesmos, the two right-handers, and he's caught it, and he's round into the wall, and that is some front wing damage, I believe, caught at the end of the first Lesmos, which is a big shame.
Yeah, absolutely, and Guy's done well to just make sure his car was positioned enough to avoid that as he comes down into Ascari now, but just takes a little bit too much of the inside curb and invalidates his lap. So next one across the line will be Robin.
Yeah, so, and Lemon has retired. I believe that is also at Lesmo 1, as TMC CR7, who's also on the lap, has a bit of a moment with his back end. And we'll go on board with Robin. And this will be, it won't be the first lap time of the day, as he decides to come into the pits, as he doesn't feel...
his teammate, 19.7, CPA Vettel.
That's the benchmark to beat, as Steve has beaten that by a tenth to a 19.6 in the Mercedes, and we have 2 laps on the board while waiting for the others to come across the line. And it looks like there's a lot of invalidations going on. There's Yorgi in the Alpha Tauri. He has lost a front wing somewhere on his travels, and he'll need to come into the pits for repairs on that one. And there's not many other people, majority of people are invalidating, but SWE isn't, and he set a 19 flat to go P1. Friar Pepper goes 4.
Yeah, Free Pepper getting in the mix. Pro Swelder getting himself up there on provisional pole. And we got a Puli Boy and Jaeger Mo setting laps in the medium compound tyres, and just looking around to see if we have anyone else approaching the line.
I don't think anyone is. Carlsberry in the Alfa Romeo just had an invalidation, so he won't be finishing that lap.
We got Wesker coming through Parabolica now.
And
The
he'll
line will come the Aston Martin, and it's going to be a 9 his teammate.
Yeah, so it's a good showing for the Aston Martins, both within a tenth of each other. Well, it's not even... Well, it's within a hundredth of each other, in fairness, so the two Aston Martins. And it's a good start to this qualifying session for the pair. And hopefully they'll be wanting to keep that up in the remaining 12.5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, and the man I'm on board with right now in the Red Bull, Scuba, who has done racing previously in TTML in Division 1. He's a former Division 2 champion as well. He's a guy who is going to be looking to pick up some big points here today, I think.
Well, as he flies through Ascari, looks like to be an okay lap. No invalidations so far, as he flies down this straight before the famous and last corner of the circuit, which is Barapolka. And he'll be looking to set a good lap on those mediums as he speeds up and he comes across the line. It's going to be a 1:20.4 that puts him P6.
Fastest of the medium runners so far though, and Pariah is stopped on track at the Della Roger chicane. He wanted to get himself going again before he gets himself disqualified.
Yeah, maybe he's just letting someone by, or might have been some incident. We obviously didn't really see it in person, but he's got himself running again without getting himself disqualified, so hopefully he'll be able to get a lap time on board. We're still waiting for nearly half the field to set their laps. As definitely Monza's proven to be a tricky circuit for some, with many invalidations coming in.
Absolutely. Yes, we got Hapuli Boy now to the line, and it's going to be a 19.8 on those mediums. So a big improvement from Hapuli Boy. Gets himself up into P6.
Yeah, that's a good lap, and as G is in the Williams, he's going round again on the second lap. He's getting a little bit of slipstream from the traffic in front, which will help him. Well, it won't help him go through Ascari if there's anyone in front of him, but it did help him down the back straight, and now he attacks Ascari in 5th and 6th gear before going down the second back straight before Parabolica, and he'll be hoping for a good lap on those soft tyres as he makes sure he gets this right. Make sure he doesn't run too wide on exit, but he decides to come into the pits. That looked to be an okay lap from the Williams, but it looked like there might have been an invalidation in Ascari, which obviously is something he shouldn't want to do.
Yogi to the line.
And Yogi has put himself on pole at the moment with a 118.9. He is the only one in the women at 18s at the minute, and he'll be hoping that stays like that for the duration of this qualifying session. But yet, there's still a further 9 drivers to still complete lap times here at Monza.
Yep, 10 drivers to still get a lap on the board. 9 minutes to go, and to the line will come FPL. Vettel goes himself up into P5. But we're starting to get some times coming in, so first lap we saw quite a few invalidations, 1 or 2 spins, and the man I'm on board with right now, Pariah, was one of those people who had a spin. Coming down to Parabolica now, he got a little bit of slipstream off Mad Jonas in the McLaren. I believe that was Heartbroken Lion jumped himself up the order, but here comes Pariah, and it's a 19.6. At the moment, no one threatening that 118.9 from Yogi.
No, everyone's staying in the women in 19s. If you're battling up the top, hopefully for the top drivers, they can all try and get themselves somewhere near the 18 barrier, if not somewhere in the mid to high 18s. But yeah, Yogi looks good at the minute, and obviously he'll have another run to come later on in the session as well.
Yep, I'm currently on board with the McLaren of Mad Jonas, as we got a Pro Swilder there jumping up onto provisional fall with a 18.8. So there's the improvement, and Pro Swilder gets himself up the order.
Yeah, that's the lap time that he'd be hoping for, and an 18.8 might be good enough for pole, but obviously there's still just over 7.5 minutes left in this qualifying session, and we'll flickle through the field, and I believe that's Steve has set a 19.2 to put himself in P3, as Scuba is about to start his lap on the softs. We saw him out on the mediums earlier on, but now he's gone on the softs. His first lap was a 20.4, but this one hopefully is going to be quicker, as Evo's going to be excited with Mad Jonas going P3 with a 118.9. He's getting himself in the mix, and Legend there in the Alfa Romeo with a 19.2. So the times are slowly tumbling as Scuba enters the second chicane. And if anyone wants to put any predictions for Paul, leave them down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you here in F3 as Scuba goes through the 2 Lesmos, hoping for improvement, hoping he can get at least into the women 19s and maybe even to the women 18s in this quali session. There's a Haas behind him, but that Haas has got out of the way, as we're on board, going through a Scary, make sure he doesn't cut or run wide on entry and exit, and he survived that. So hoping he can have a nice parabolica and neatly finish off this lap in the Red Bull. And he is, I believe, in car number 42, and car number 42 will go P4 with a 1:19.037.
Yep, a good lap there. Scuba gets himself quite a distance up the order, and now he'll be all about trying to psych himself up for that final lap. And we got anyone else approaching the line right now? Pretty sure we just got a few about to do their first lap. CR7, last week's race winner, unfortunately invalidating his lap, so he's got a decision to make. He's gonna, I think, try for another run.
Yeah,
He's
so the
running
second
out of time.
So the second Red
As
Bull
is Lemmy Key.
So the second Red Bull is running out of time. Obviously, race winner last week. He will be hoping to get a lap in now. And I don't know, there might be just about enough time for him to come back to the pits and change some tyres before going out again for a second run. And he'll be hoping to keep it clean, make sure he doesn't do an invalidation like he did first time round in the second Red Bull. Obviously his teammates put himself P4. He'll be hoping to be around there in the top 4, top 3. Obviously he'll be wanting pole. There's yellow flags in sector 3, but I think that's just traffic getting out of the way. As he breaks for Ascari. So have to be so committed through that. And he is as ever as they go down the straight for Parabolica. The top 7 are in the pits, but it looks like CR7 is aboard in this lap. And going again.
Lemmy Key up in the second.
As Lemmy Key in the Williams goes P2 with a 1:18.9. Just shy of half a tenth off pole, as CR7 is definitely coming into the pits for a change of tyres, as he's aborted that last lap and come into the pits with just under 4 minutes left of qualifying.
Yeah, and CR7 now under a lot of pressure to deliver on this final lap.
Yeah, he is, and it's a very competitive field as well, so there's only a couple of tenths in it. If you're one of the late type of drivers that come out late and start just before the checkered lag drops, then you could be in with a very good chance of getting yourself up a few places in this session. As CPI Vettel down in P15, he's currently on the lap going through sector 1. The Lesmos, in fact, this is sector 2, and the second DRS straight, as the Ferrari is wide open. It looks like it's a Sebastian Vettel triple helmet from his Ferrari days. As he breaks into Ascari, make sure he doesn't do any invalidations, which he doesn't, and he'll fly into the 2 DHL sponsorship signs and break into Parabolica. Slight break down into 5th. He opts for 4th to get the front end in. Ooh, and it looks like he will complete this lap, and it's going to be a 1:19.3 that puts in P8, but there's not much time separating the mid-pack.
Yeah, as Wesker, the other man who was on a flying lap, I think has had a bit of an off moment because he's backed off completely now.
Yeah, so the Aston Martins, 10th and 11th, they did have a very encouraging start, but I'm sure they'll be wanting to get themselves ready for the latter part of qualifying, where there's going to be a lot of action going on with all 19 remaining drivers, as we've unfortunately lost Lemon due to an early retirement, but all the other 19 should be coming out and gunning it to make sure they get their best lap possible in the remaining minutes of qualifying.
Yep, as Wesker has got himself going again, and that's very smooth, not catching too much of the inside curves there in the first chicane, keeping it nice and tight through Curva Grande. Just out slightly, so that's just scrubbing off a little bit of time there. but into the De La Rocha chicane. Attacks the curbs there, lovely there from the Aston Martin. Now into the Lesmos, very easy to drift wide to pick up on the exit of both of the Lesmos, but he keeps it in check. He's got a little bit of traffic up ahead of him. DRS wide open now. Gonna run down towards Ascari, and that's his teammate giving him a bit of a tow. We can just before the 100-meter board. Doesn't take the most ideal line through Ascari, and I think he's lost a decent amount of time. We looked a little bit too cautious through Ascari, but run down now to Parabolica, 5th gear, and the car roll wide on the exit before he tries to bring it back in for the shortest run possible to the line. And it's going to be a 19.2, so he gets himself up into 7th, but he's not threatening the top lot, as Post Wilder's retired from the session.
Yeah, so Post Wilder thinks he might have enough of pole, or in fact he has caused a yellow flag at Ascari, which looks to me that he's gone for a little crash, which isn't advised around this circuit, as drivers all start their final laps now.
Guys is off at Ascari as well, as Yogi improves, puts himself up in the provisional pole. So Post Wilder, they're losing his car, and it's lost in pole as well.
Yeah, that will be a big blow, as CR7 is in this dust. He's trying to complete his first lap of the day, as right at the end of this qualifying session he's managed to get a new set of tyres on his car, and he'll be hoping to get somewhere involved as he goes through the second Lesmos and opens the DRS yet again. Flying down this straight, there's obviously plenty of traffic in and around him. I believe his teammates behind him, who's currently sitting in P5, and let's see what he can do through Ascari. Obviously you don't want to attack that left hand curb too much, just in case of a spin, and you get the slipstream from the Aston Martin in front, which will be a bit of a help, as the drivers all setting their final lap times now. And it's the race winner from last week, TMC CR7, who is on pole with a fascinating lap time of a 1 minute 18.567. For the really dull stages of F1 lobbies, there's nothing to report, as drivers are just being controlled by the AI and just waiting for the clock to run down. Or maybe if Yogi could just retire his car, that might speed up the process a little bit. But here we are, all done. And race winner from last week,